Good morning, YouTube. It's Yuma to Nogales this morning. It's about 205 miles, so we're in the Cirrus Vision SF50 to make this flight. Alright, I do get ground services today. That's good. Okay. Let me release the brakes. Get them to push me straight back.
Sorry, no push carts at this ramp.
I have to apologize for all the movement. I forgot to put my headset on. I realized when I turned the engines on. Alright, this morning looks like we'll have a distance of 205 miles, estimated time en route 52 minutes, general nav bearing of 100, and we'll put in 108.2 for VOR1. Let's see here. Make this a little bigger. Thought I clicked that.
Sorry, no push carts at this ramp.
Oh, no push carts. Okay. Oh, 8.2. Altitude of about 12,000 feet. Okay. There's no MDA for this one. ATIS is 121.125. Okay. Just having a look out the window here. Yeah, I switched something for my profile too, so when I rotate, it's also taking my head tilts into account now, whereas it wasn't before. So if I do that, it wasn't doing that before. That's kind of neat. Our arrival altitude is 9,000 feet. Approach runway, we can do either 3 or 21, and that will be depending on ATIS. Alright. Keyboard's in the way there. There we are. I'm giving it right rudder and right brake to just kind of spin in place here. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the head rotations yet. It just takes some getting used to. Um, and it feels like it's off-centered a little bit. Maybe if I adjust my hat to bring in my hat here. I'm still somewhat new to this technology. I've been using it for a little over a week, or a week, maybe a week and a few days. All right. So what I have not done is program anything in here except for the nav radio, which is not going to pick anything up because we're so far away from it. So let me turn the brakes on. And let's see. This is KOLS that we're going to. Nogales. So I'll just do a direct to for the most part. And then once we get ATIS information, then we'll go ahead and program the RNAV landing. Let's get this to about 50 miles out. All right. Releasing the brakes. Just doing it with the pedals. That should coincide with what's on here. Brakes off. Okay. I am holding the brakes in while I spin up the engines. Rotating. Gear up. Autopilot engaged. Flaps up.
TCAP alert.
So we'll pull up the distance measuring equipment for the radio, the bearing for the GPS. We've already got the winds. We'll do the terrain for the inset map. Same for this one. Oh, and when we flew to Yuma, I was supposed to, ATIS wanted me to land at 2.6. Well, when I was looking at that chart, I did go back and review that. There is a 2.6, and I just missed it. I just overlooked it. There was a 2.6. Thought that was interesting. I figured I'd tell on myself. Alright, let's go ahead and turn those landing lights off. That's 60 minutes. As we level off and pick up speed, that will increase or decrease. Set that at 2,500 feet per minute. We have a distance of 198 nautical miles. Now that will increase a little bit once I program which runway we're going to land at. I don't have much options here. So it might be a visual landing this morning. Be visual. We'll do a visual approach and landing. $10,000 to 12. Or 1,000 below 12. That's what that notifier was. That beep, just to let us know we're 1,000 below our assigned altitude. Now that we're leveling off, I'm going to set N1 to about 85%. See what speed we get at that. I'd like to maintain about 220 knots or thereabouts. Now, since I have no approach for a runway, nothing instrument to go by, when I'm 10 or 15 miles out, I'll begin a descent somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000 feet, or just until I feel comfortable that I can see the runway, get on a glide path, or, try to land this visually. Typically, when I'm in the Cirrus Vision SF50, I do an RNAV approach, but since one isn't an option for us, this will be a little bit different for me. It's easier to land, a Cessna or something that moves a lot slower. I can get this thing to slow down to about 75 knots for a decent descent, but that's typically once I've spotted the runway and I'm all lined up. So we'll see. We can make it happen. Now that we're at speed, it's about 38 minutes. I'll be watching for when we pick up the VOR1 for Navline, but it probably won't be until we're about 50 miles from it, maybe 70 miles, just depends. At 12,000 feet, we might pick it up sooner. I probably don't need to be at 12,000 feet by the look of it, but it won't be an issue. Yeah, so this doesn't rotate around as easy as the other one. It's more like more real. Like if I turn my head in the cockpit at this angle, that's about what I would see. Whereas if I leave the default setting as it was, I could rotate my head about this far, we'd almost be looking in the back seat. If I rotate just a little bit more, we are looking in the back seat. But now I'm only able to see just a little bit outside the passenger window. So I'd have to rotate all the way around to see in the back seat, but by then it wouldn't be possible because the track IR wouldn't be able to see the reflectors for the infrared. So I think I'll set it back the way that it was. I do like that if I tilt my head like that, it corresponds. You know, as I move around, bobbing, weaving, whatever, that matches. But I don't like not being able to see in the back like I could before. I wonder if I do the hat button. No, the hat button's not working for me, so I can't switch views that way, unfortunately. Let's see if my quick views work with this setup. Nope. Let's see here. Oh, the track IR doesn't. Oh, you know it's going to be right here. Now let's see. So it didn't actually change it back in the game. I'd probably have to restart X-Plane in order to get it to switch. But that's what I changed, that 1-to-1. It was default, and then I changed it 1-to-1, and that's why it's like this. So next time I'll leave it back to default. So my impression is that Nogales is just a small airport somewhere out there in, what is it, Santa Cruz County, Arizona? Somewhere in Arizona. Hang on, I think I got the website pulled up that I was looking at. Yeah, Santa Cruz County, Arizona is where it's at. So we're flying to, if we're not already in Arizona, to be honest, I don't know where Yuma is. I don't know if it's, you know, Texas or where. Maybe it's Arizona too. But yeah, I looked up Nogales and it is in Arizona. So I'm trying to see what that is right there. Kind of weird. Just a triangle out in the middle of nowhere. Is it a pyramid? So I think that's water there. The triangle is probably just a misplaced or missed something. I mean, just a weird graphic detail. There's some patches out there too, but that one's weird. I'm not going to get an ideal angle on that. But yeah, it's nothing that's jutting out of the ground. It's just a weird graphic in the ground there. Best I can tell anyways. Sometimes you see weird stuff like that in the game. But it being in Arizona, you know, or Nevada area, that makes it that much more spooky and eerie. Somewhere out there where you might see Area 51 or 2. Aliens. So that's kind of triangular too, but that might be further away than I am from that other one. Well, now I don't even see it at all. We couldn't have passed it already. Maybe the mesh or the ground, the terrain repaired itself. So at 32 knot winds, we still haven't picked up anything on VOR1, but we're still a distance of 146 nautical miles out. Just looking at the designs on that, that's kind of neat. I'm not sure why this one is so big all the time. I do try to resize it, make it smaller, but it seems like no matter what I do, the next time I come back, it's huge. I'm just curious. It won't do anything because it'll time out. I'll wait till I get closer. that's me looking up at the TV, trying to see what it looks like. What was it? 2 days ago, I was live streaming, and in my web browser, the live stream was only showing the clouds. But then when I went and played it back, it showed everything. So it just wasn't showing up right in my browser. So I have a TV here in the den with me, and I just decided I could have that running and look at the live stream from that to see what you all are seeing, so I know whether or not it's, you know, the browser that's the issue or the actual live stream itself. It was the first live stream issue that I've encountered, so you know, everything has been, you know, smooth going so far up until 2 days ago, and then with it only showing the clouds and not the cockpit, it really kind of confused me and made me wonder what was going on. Let's see a little bit more. For that, I could probably do, let's look at this one. Field of view. No, that backs me up forward a little bit. Let's do 50. That might be too much. That way when I lean back in my seat a little bit, it's not, well, yeah, probably could do 50. Get by with it. Now seat's still there. Okay, so that doesn't help at all. It's just my position relative to the track IR. And without getting right up on the yoke and almost sitting on it, it makes it so that I'm just right there at the seat. So if I lean back just a little bit, there's that seat. Maybe next time I could put a pillow behind me or something, get me a little forward. I don't seem to have the same issue in the Cessna. What I'm going to look at is the terrain. So it's a higher altitude terrain, definitely, particularly in these darker brown areas. But through here, I'm not exactly sure what altitude I can be at safely. The green areas are obviously really good, but the darker they get, the higher in altitude they are. There's a lot of airports over here. Let's go back into the pan mode. So the pan, you push that and then you can put your mouse over. If you get your mouse on it just right, it turns into that little hand, and then you can actually move the screen. And I like that. KMZJ. Let me zoom in a little closer so I can see these. Maybe out one more. What is that? KFHJ? Oh, wrong way. KFHU. I just wonder if it's a bigger airport and whether or not I could do an RNAV landing at it. It wouldn't be that much trouble to go from there to there. Let me look that up real quick. KFHU. I might switch to that one. Tell you what, I'll bring over this web page. KFHU. That was it, right? KFHU? Yeah. Fort Hachata. Yeah, there's we could do RNAV landings there. 8 and 26. I'll have to make some changes. Alright, let me pull that up. So ATIS is 134.75. Let's see. I'll leave it like it is. I don't need to do an RNAV landing. I've just gotten so used to them. It's very tempting to switch to something I can actually use instruments for, because I don't have them to rely on today. Switch back to GPS mode there. That's my coffee. My coffee cup blocking the infrared signal. We still haven't picked up Nav 1 yet, but we're still 80 some nautical miles away, so there we go. We just picked up the waypoint at 80 miles, at roughly 80 nautical miles out, 79, somewhere in there. But I was looking at the ground speed. We're doing about 288 knots. About the time I took my eyes away and I started looking at Mach 0.418, and the ground speed, I look back here, it's like, oh, there it is. We got it. Yeah, we're set. We're doing about 223 knots here on the primary flight display, but we have a ground speed here of about 287 knots. But we also have the 32 knot tailwind. You know, so it's a little at an angle, so a little bit of a crosswind, but mostly it's pushing us out there, pushing us along. I think I'll go ahead and descend to about 9,000 feet, and I'll just be mindful of those mountains in front of me. I don't think 9,000 will be a problem. I think we'll make it right over those just fine. And I'll throttle back some, at least 80, 75 N1, see how it goes. Once I'm over those mountains, I'll be thinking of descending a little lower. I'd like to get about as low as I can before I get to the airport. And I'm going to have to get a visual on it. I still haven't heard from ATIS yet. Did I switch the comms? Let me see what ATIS is supposed to be. ATIS is 121.125, and it is active. But we are still 67 nautical miles away, so perhaps when we're within 50 some nautical miles, we'll start getting some announcements for at least the altimeter and which runway we can land at. It'll be one of two. It'll be runway 3 or runway 210. COM 1 is turned on, so we should hear it. I almost never turn it off, but sometimes there have been instances where I've wondered, why am I not hearing ATIS? And then I look and my COM isn't on, and I don't even remember turning it off, but it has happened at least once. So sometimes you just need to check. Yeah, I can't draw my monitors any closer to me or it will offset the balance and they'll fall forward. And my yoke, I mean, I could maybe slide forward just a little bit, but not much. And then there's it won't be able to interact with the pedals as well as I normally could. I'm just trying to get it so that that seat doesn't just show up every 5 minutes. I like to look at that mountain over there, the sharp peak. Many times in X-Plane, they're all just kind of rounded off, but that one's a nice peak to it. Alright, we're at 9,000 and we're 13 minutes out. I'm going to descend to 6,000 at 1,000 feet per minute, and I'll just watch these mountains. Still not hearing in from ATIS. So I think we'll be fine over these mountains. It's the next mountains that might be a little more troublesome. Let me pull up that multifunction display here. And we got a little red showing here now.
Nogales INTL weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 2. Dew point -6. Altimeter 3001.
Alright, altimeter 3001, but they didn't tell us which runway we could land at. Alright, the altimeter is set. And I think I'm going to stop my descent. I'm going to do an altitude hold here. I'm looking at those mountains and they're starting to look really close. So do a lot of manual flying when I get to this airport. But once I get a visual on it, I'll get us lined up. And it looks like we'll be approaching from here or here. But once I see it, I'll probably fly over here and come in that way. That was interesting, a little turbulence. Some greenery here in this part of Arizona. And I think we'll be fine over those mountains, but at this altitude we are relatively close, too close for comfort. So the airport, and I'm just guessing because I'm looking at the dark areas here, and I'm assuming those dark areas are these mountain peaks here. And I could be wrong. It could be what I'm looking at here. Now, see, I would think these right here are what we're seeing here, and these, and like that big one, is all what we're seeing right there. So I'm wondering if the runway's right here. That just seems too close. Maybe I shouldn't be going by what the GPS looks like. So the runway's probably after these. Once I'm a little closer, I'm probably going to head over this way with the anticipation of approaching it from that direction. So I'm just setting the heading bug, getting that ready. course, we could head over there now. We fly up into this area and turn through here to go on the other side of that mountain, but right through there. That's my intent anyways, and I may disengage the autopilot and do it. In fact, I think I will disengage the autopilot.
Sierra Vista Muni Libby AAF information Bravo.
Alright, I'm going to switch the comms so we don't... I wasn't expecting to pick up another station. How are we looking at relative to the runway? Now, of course, I haven't seen it yet. I'm just going by the GPS for its location. Now, I manually fly the Cessna. I've not manually flown and landed the Cirrus Vision before. This is a new one for me. I'm sure it's perfectly doable. It's 22 miles out. Once we're within 10 miles, I'll probably slow the aircraft down. I like this valley up here, so I'm heading towards that. Fly around that mountain right there that we're looking at. Go into that valley. Spot the runway. Slow it down. And land. And hopefully it's big enough to land at without... This thing does, for not having reverse thrusters and air brakes, it does slow down pretty quickly. So Maybe over in here. I don't know. It's all speculation and guessing for me right now. We're 16 miles out, pointed almost directly at it. Almost. Okay, so maybe beyond here? I don't know. Let me sit up. I'm going to go to 60 N1. Just try to slow it down. I'll try to maintain my altitude for the most part, but I don't want to be too high. If I'm too high, we'll have to do circles before I can land. Even though it says we're at 7,000 feet, I do not feel like I'm at 7,000 feet. So we're probably a lot closer to the ground than we think. I do not see this runway. We're going to fly right over it and I won't see it. See some houses. Wait, is that it? There we are. There it is. Okay. I know where it is now. I'm going to go on the other side of this mountain. Head back over in that direction. Slow it down to about 50 N1. Let's go ahead and turn the landing lights on. I'll put some flaps out. Ooh. Can't see the flaps. I can't even move my head down to look. Yeah, I can't see them. Alright, I think I only have one flap, but it almost feels like full flaps. Okay, we're still doing 140 knots. That's good. Now I'm all discombobulated from doing that. I would look down to see what speed we can put the gear down at. I usually wait till it beeps at me, but all right, I'm gonna do the second. There we go. Gear down. And I don't like my rate of descent, so I'm trying to give it a little more power to stay in the air. I mean, I see the runway. I mean, I see the airport, rather. I don't see the runway. So here I am anticipating. I was going to land at runway 3, so yeah, we are heading in the right direction. I need to go out this way a little bit more before I turn in. And we're at just a little over 100 knots. Pretend binoculars. Yeah, so there's the front of the runway right there. More power. I'm also giving a nice steady pull on the yoke because I've got one hand on the power and the other on the yoke, so I don't have a hand available to do the trim. I'll be slowly reducing power, trying to get it down to, the speed I typically have it at, but I don't foresee that I'm going to get it down to 75 knots before I actually land. I think I'm going to land a little hotter than normal. Pappy looks good for now. Which is amazing because I'm a little low. I hit hard. That was a bounce. Raising the flaps. Alright, let's see where we can go here. Alright, I'll just put it right here. I'm going to kill the power, the engines. Set the brakes. Yeah, that was not a very good landing. Alright. Let me jump in the cockpit. Yeah, we flew into the wind, so that's good. Big bounce. Big bounce. Needs work. All right, YouTube. If you don't mind, help me build this channel and subscribe. And if you like the video, like, thumbs up, leave a comment, all those things. And anyways, thank you for joining me this morning, and hope you all have a good day. See you next time.